The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Monday, April 21st. My calendar said it's National Day After Easter Day, you guys. I didn't know that was a thing.
The morning after.
Yes. Today is also National Rendering Day today, you guys.
Yeah, man. Get your drawing on, man.
Oh, that's a Jesse holiday.
No,
that's a Jesse Design Co. holiday.
No, it is not. It is not. It has nothing to do with designing or rendering. It does not have anything to do with that.
You said it's rendering day.
It is rendering day, but that is not what rendering means in this case, Jenny Beth.
What does it mean?
Well, I'm letting Jesse have it any fucking way. How about that, Jason Beck?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you were the supreme dictator all of a sudden.
Yeah, I aggregate holidays. You didn't know that?
I know you aggregate.
Hey, aggregate, whatever you need.
Oh man. So, but rendering, I was confused as to what this was. I was like, this is interesting that it's like the day after Easter and everything and da. And so it turns out rendering is the process that 50% of when animals are slaughtered for food. Rendering is what they do with the other 50% of the animal that they don't use as actual food and how they create other products. That is what rendering day is.
This is my new favorite holiday because Jason Beck didn't know what something meant and he actually looked into it.
I look into this stuff all the time.
So it's National Lard and Tallow Creation Day.
I would say more like what's that grease that they make?
Lard and tallow.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's also National Yellow Bat Day. You guys, shout out to the Air Force. Yeah, yellow bat for the Air Force. This is squadron.
That was like Batman's.
I knew you guys. You're gonna think that it was for Robin or something. Some corniness. It's because you're wearing have a yellow
like
shirt.
A yellow fucking bat, like on his.
Oh,
chest.
the bat signal. Got it. That's all right. Fair enough.
In some renderings of the bat suit, if you will, Jason.
You're going to love this one, Rico. National Chocolate Covered Cashews Day today.
You just think I love all things chocolate, huh?
I love chocolate covered cashews.
Salty nuts.
Yeah.
If it has something to do with chocolate, it has something to do with me. I'm beginning to think that's as racially tethered.
Oh man,
Jason.
You're just beginning to think.
Yeah.
Causation and correlation sometimes do align. You know what I'm saying?
It's also National Kindergarten Day today, you guys.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kay.
Yeah. Shout out to
that was for you. That was for your story today, Jesse.
Elon Musk and all the other casualties of first.
Do you spell
70 some odd days of Trump?
Do you spell casualties with a K, Rico?
No, but I spell clan with a K.
Oh, God. Stop the ridiculousness. Anyways, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday. We are live here on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And we are kicking it off with the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, in a black hat and a yellow shirt today. The golden boy himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
Thank you, Jason. Happy 421. And I got to bring some sad news to start us off today, because there's a dark cloud hovering over this year's 420 here in California. The Golden State's legal cannabis industry is facing a severe downturn, prompting tax cuts in places like Sonoma County and Desert Hot Springs to help struggling businesses survive. This morning, SF Gates Lester Black outlined the emergency procedures being taken by two places once known as surefire legal weed winners in California, as their pot farms disappear and operators face what they've described as a total market collapse. Sonoma County cut its cannabis cultivation taxes by 45% due to a sharp drop in licensed farms from 155 to 66 in under 2 years. Officials call the situation a market collapse, not just consolidation. In Desert Hot Springs, retail pot taxes were cut in half, following similar moves by Palm Springs, Palm Desert, and Cathedral City. The area had an oversaturation of stores due to high initial demand and tourism appeal. April 2023. Industry advocates, including the California Cannabis Operators Association, support the tax relief, calling it essential for survival. In contrast, San Diego recently increased cannabis taxes by 25% to offset a budget deficit, risking a shift to the illicit market. I wonder what will happen there. The elephant in the room is at the state level, where California's excise tax is set to rise 25% in July, potentially worsening the legal market's decline. Bottom line here is that with collapsing markets and mounting taxes, parts of California are slashing cannabis levies to keep businesses afloat, while others are risking they're pushing out consumers back into the illicit market. Will we soon see similar measures taken by other municipalities across the state? California is pretty damn stupid. And I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. I'd love to hear what the rest of the team thinks about this one.
I'm all about any kind of tax relief. I'm a big fan of, so I think this is fantastic, and I'm not surprised. I mean, they way overpopulated all of their licensing. I mean, Palm Springs had no cap on retail stores. Just if you could find somewhere in the green zone, you could open up a retail store and whatnot. And this is not surprised by this at all. But I'm glad to see some relief come into these cannabis operators.
Some relief, but some of them died on the vine, right? Isn't that what you're saying there, Rico? Story?
Yeah, I mean, these numbers are abysmal. Up in Sonoma County, over the last 2 years, man, 155 farms down to 66 that are active right now. Mountain DHS, it says they saw a drop from 31 to 20 licensed shops since April 2023. Like, things are withering away. So it sounds. So I mean,
I wonder
San Diego increasing their taxes.
I wonder how many of those just switched back to the legacy market, moved up into the hills.
I don't know. I mean, I think they moved into the.
Yeah, would not be surprised if it was a ton of them, Jesse. Right? Like, you gotta put food on the table.
Hey, if you can get a pound to Dubai or a bunch of other countries in Asia, you can make a lot of money.
Oh, I'm there.
Oh, sorry, y'all. I didn't put my do not disturb on. Pete Hegseth sent me a signal.
Oh, was that? Travis, you need to turn your phone sideways. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh man, where's Jenny? She must be out parring.
She's golfing.
She's out on the par.
Strokes.
Hey, Stroker, you got any thoughts on this? Yeah, I think you're out in Palm Springs today, aren't you? Oh, she's not. She's not responding.
I fucking love tax relief. Let's fucking go. And yeah, I'm on the golf course right now, so.
Yeah, this is like it's a win on one hand, but it's bad on the other. It took the death of these farms to create this situation to create the leverage, and that's a problem. And the fact that California couldn't see this coming. What are we? We're 7 years into the wreck.
They saw it coming.
Yeah, Jesse, I mean, it's a last ditch effort to try to save them. Yeah, it's too little, too late. I don't see why they didn't, start off low and then creep their way up. Like this is
because it's a cash grab.
This is how business works. Not everybody makes it. And I've said for a long time, and get mad at me and scream in the comments, I don't give a fuck. I get to talk on the show and I get to say what I want.
Get it.
What I'm gonna say is, the plight of the small farmer for a long time has also been the small farmer. Instead of figuring out how to move, how to pivot, how to fucking cover up and figure out how to just keep the fucking lights turning on and the key going in the lock. Like, they sat there and they, screamed about metric and stomped their feet and threw hissy fits and hissy fitted themselves right out of business. So, boo. I hate to see it happen, but this is what happens. I'm sorry. You have to learn to pivot. You have to learn to survive. And if you can't, don't expect me to sit here and cry your crocodile tears for you.
I mean, even the ones who have survived, Jenny Beth, like I know a notable farmer up in Covelo. He turns thousands of pounds a year, and which is, not huge, but it's big for a small farmer. And he has had distribution problems where the way that the distribution model has been made in California based on the alcohol distribution, it's very difficult when you send pounds off to a distributor and they go into a warehouse not to be seen for 6 months and then disappear entirely. And the money is gone and the pounds are gone and the farmer's left holding air. And this is happening to a lot of people, and that's on top of the tax problems and on top of everything else. There's so many things against them that I don't think it's easy to just say, well, just pivot, just figure it out.
Well,
this is a life's blood, and there's a life's blood. I'm with you, Jesse.
I'm sorry. Somebody ran off on the plug is tale as old as time. Like, it fucking happens. It's happened in the black market. It's happened, and I hate to see that. But you chose your distribution partner. That's why you have to make smart business decisions about who you do business with. I understand I sound like a hard ass and a bitch and like I don't care. And I do care, I promise you. It just...
Can't really ask you better than that.
Sorry.
She's an accountability.
I mean, I think you're right in one sense, but I also think it's easy to say for us that work for these people and we know all the ins and outs. And as the farmer, I've watched these guys. I know you have too. I know Rico has, and many of us have. We've watched these people struggle, and they're juggling 1,000 balls, and those balls are on fire, and knives appear out of nowhere, and it's like, how do you just continue to survive when California itself is creating a market that seems like it's designed to kill you?
Well, I mean, it is. But, I don't know. I've been operating long enough. I've saved some shit that shouldn't have been saved. And, they're still operating. And I hate it for the folks that aren't. I'm sorry. Truly am. Like, that sucks. The taxation, though, is not the biggest problem. It sucks. But, like, if they get tax relief, would they have made it?
Yeah, I mean, that's
no. I think it's too little. I think it's too little, too late. I think, and in this story, they're talking about, Gavin Newsom is not backing down off that after that statewide cultivation hike in July. That just might be the death knell.
The excise tax raise you're referring to.
Yeah, that just might be the nail in the coffin for a lot of these operators. These last ditch efforts by these counties to try to help them out the best that they can, it's going to have a ripple effect. They're going to be short in other places as well. Like, this is just doesn't look good.
I wonder if there'll be like a statewide revolt similar to what like Elliot Lewis is doing with the revolt on the LA taxes. If all the California licenses said, you know what, screw you, California, we're not paying the tax, we're done with it. You screwed the pooch until you come up with some meaningful change. We're not paying our taxes. Kick rocks.
I mean, that would be great in the ideal world, but like there's a lot of question marks these days about Gavin Newsom and his loyalties. The different regulators in each municipality and where their loyalties land. It's just a shitty situation all around, and I'm not sure that you really want to take that risk. I would. It's easy for me to say that when I'm not a licensed retailer, I'm not a licensed cultivator. But when you have several people's jobs on the line, you have the livelihood of your family on the line. Like, you try to make the best decisions, and it just seems like they keep on, throwing them snake eyes, bro. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks.
Here's the problem with that. If you don't pay, you don't fucking play. Guess what happens if you don't pay your City of LA taxes? Your license is not going to get renewed. They were doing it before.
Right, straight up.
Hold on, they weren't holding up renewals. Guess what happens if you don't pay your California state taxes? You lose your fucking seller's permit. Guess what happens if you lose your fucking seller's permit? It's $5,000 per transaction that you do without a fucking seller's permit as a fine. And you're also completely out of fucking compliance, at which point you now don't have a license again. So I'm just going to sit here and stomp my feet and I'm not going to pay the fucking taxes is not an option, you guys. So I don't understand. I understand what Elliot's saying. And, I love Elliot. I love when he screams at people. I find it insanely entertaining. We are definitely cut from the same cloth in that regard. However, please, God, don't everybody be like, I'm not going to pay my fucking taxes because you're not going to have a fucking license. And you don't have as many of them as Elliot has. So don't play these stupid fucking games and win a stupid prize.
So you're saying don't play chicken.
Way too much in my opinion, there's way too much at stake for people to be taking those risks. It's a shitty situation all around, and you're in a federally illegal industry. So, like I said, it's too many saucers being balanced here by too many people, and it's a bad hand. These good folks were dealt a bad hand. Just sucks to see these people die in slow motion. Put it that way.
California is being dethroned of the king of cannabis in the nation, and they seem like the sad brother at the party now. All the other states are having a lot of fun, and California was they started everything, but I think there's a reorganization of what state runs cannabis. And
everybody knows Oklahoma runs cannabis.
Yeah, it's just they were the king forever. You'd have from Minnesota, we'd go to California and buy our cannabis. We'd pay $1,500 for outdoor weed in early 2000s, and it was great. And so now California's just got to find other things to do, I guess. I don't know. Besides,
heavy as the head.
Well, I think you're right, and California still is king in a sense that per capita, I think it still has the best growers.
Well, that's also too, Jesse, from a branding perspective, because even with all these other states selling cannabis and whatnot, that's all in California packaging.
Yep.
Yeah. It's everything still mimics California, even though when it comes to bulk mids, Oklahoma clearly is winning, and probably is going to win for the foreseeable future. But from a branding perspective and from a quality perspective, I mean, there's still more quality cannabis, more quality rosin, more quality hash.
Yeah, I love
California than anywhere else by far.
Right on.
I'm judging a New York competition, and they are doing both legacy and license operators, and I can't wait to see how much California rosin I'm going to be smoking that is entered into that New York event. So I'll keep you guys fucking posted on that one.
Exactly.
All right, well, on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back.
Oh, man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, But I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. every batch all the way through pharmaceutical grade and in a GMP certified facility, so you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Test it. It's not a name, it's a promise.
And we are back. We're rolling right on back, you guys.
Here we are. It is the and up next, y'all know who it is. It's the Sultan of Spin. Spins every loss into a win.
That's right.
The man who looks truth in the mirror and sees nothing but darkness.
We stay
the man
winning.
who is known for smoking the best weed in the world, and he's the highest Republican in every room. And Donald Trump's favorite scapegoat. Jason Beck, what do you have for us?
Stop it, you guys. You too much, Rico. Too much sometimes, but that's all right. That's why we love you. That's why we love you.
Yeah.
Oh man, hope everyone had a fantastic Easter and Passover weekend and everything. You guys, hope you guys all got some rest. You know what I mean? But let me tell you what happened over the weekend, you guys. That's right, Tennessee. They approved new restrictions on THC just before 420, you guys. And what's the difference between hemp and marijuana and what to know, they say, you guys? Well, just days before 420, sweeping hemp regulations have been approved in Tennessee. State lawmakers passed a bill on April 17th that, if signed by Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, would adopt new restrictions for cannabis in the state, including new tax rates, age restrictions, and penalties and licensure requirements. The bill was sponsored by State Senator Richard Briggs, Republican from Knoxville, and in a quote says, "We have a situation here in Tennessee where we are essentially dealing with unregulated adult use marijuana." Briggs said during debate on the bill. And he says, "It's the Wild West out here," even though they're on the East Coast, apparently. And here's what consumers should know about the new THC regulations in Tennessee, approved just before the unofficial marijuana holiday. The Tennessee law is an extensive overview of hemp products available in the state and how they're sold, and the bill would establish tax rates for different types of cannabis products, outlining licensure requirements for suppliers, wholesalers, and retailers, and setting fines for violators and designating state enforcement authority. The most impactful portion of the legislature is that it would limit the production and sale of non-Delta 9 THC hemp-derived cannabinoid products in a concentration of 0.3%. This limits what hemp products can be sold within the state, and the bill also classifies THCA as the precursor of Delta 9 THC rather than a hemp-derived product. And you ask, what is THC? You ask, well, I think most people know on the show know, but nonetheless, for the people that don't, THC is tetrahydrocannabinol and is prominent chemical compound found in cannabis, and you can smoke THC or put it in an edible to get high. And there are a few different versions of THC, including Delta 9, Delta 8, Delta 10, but Delta 9 is the most common. And THC is also used in THCA and THCV, which offer health benefits without the high or psychedelic effects. However, if THCA is heated up and decarbolizes, it can cause a high, usually associated with marijuana. That's because it turns into THC Delta 9, you crazy person, whoever wrote this article. And then they ask, is THCA legal in Tennessee, you guys? Yes, THCA will continue to be legal in Tennessee as long as it's within the state's concentration levels. And then they ask, are hemp and marijuana the same? And they say, hemp and marijuana are the same species, according to the Healthline, and they're just two different names for cannabis. The main difference between the terms is how much THC each contains, they say. And the term hemp is used to mean cannabis that contains 0.3% or less THC content by dry weight, according to Healthline. And marijuana is generally associated with getting high, and the term legally refers to cannabis that has more than 0.3% THC by dry weight. And marijuana is not legal in Tennessee, but hemp products can be sold. And they say in a quote, "We are not going to be a recreational marijuana state," Briggs said, in which states are adult use weed legal. And as you can buy legal adult use marijuana in nearly half of U.S. states, but neither medical marijuana or adult use weed are legally available in Tennessee currently. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this little fun patch of information going on in Tennessee. What do y'all got to say today?
This just proves that the
How are they going to
Republicans.
enforce this shit? Yeah, how are they going to enforce this shit? Like the trap just going to win.
Yeah.
They're going to keep Tennessee going to keep on doing what Tennessee doing. Out in Knoxville, out of the especially out by the universities. Shout out to the volunteers out there. The kids love that shit, man.
Right.
They are fucking pushing weight out there.
They got it popping out there.
It'll be interesting to see them trying to put this toothpaste back in the tube. It ain't happening.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna happen. So we'll see. We'll see. They can try to put lipstick on this pig all they want. Like they're gonna have to bow down to the market.
Yeah.
What about this? The Tennessee Senate is 27 Republicans, 6 Democrats. The General Assembly, House of Representatives, 75 Republicans and 24 Democrats. The Republicans were so cool in 2018 when they passed the hemp bill, but they just continually do uncool stuff like this that bothers me.
I love the way you phrased that. I'm gonna start using that soft language with Jenny and Jesse and Jason over here. Stop being uncool.
Yeah,
just quit being uncool. It's not cool.
We're the cool Republicans, and we support cool Republicans. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we need more cool Republicans. Where are these weirdos at?
How many cool Republicans are there? Like
there's
3?
a ton. There's a ton.
Out of 5,
they're all on the show.
There's 3 on the show right now. Like I feel like that's a gaggle. You know,
what did the cool Republicans say to the uncool Republicans? That's what I want to know. What do you do when you're?
No, we just tell them to shut the fuck up the same way we tell everybody else to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
There are 3 cool Republicans in the world.
So there's a lot more. There's a lot more. I know a lot of them. I know a lot of cool ass Republicans.
None of them are writing any legislation.
This is my thing.
You'd be surprised.
Trump. Like Trump will listen to the cannabis argument because he's cool. He's kind of cool. I don't know. I think he's been around a lot. Like, but the people below Trump are like, oh God, getting through to Trump is the problem. You know, like the stop gates. Like, oh no, cannabis is bad. Like,
there are a lot of stop gates. That's fair, Travis. There are a lot of stop gates.
Bathroom break like Scott Bessent did when he got him to reverse the tariffs.
I didn't hear about that. That sounds about right.
Oh boy.
On the topic of the story, I think that this is just going to continue to happen. What is it? Every single week, it seems like we have a story about a state that's prohibiting hemp in some way. And I think that this really open free market that the Farm Bill created is creating Prohibition 3.0. And it's just going to make it, I think, as the years go by or even just the weeks or months, the hemp market's going to become increasingly hard nationwide. And we're just going to get back to where it's the trap and we're fighting for this regulated, legalized market, which isn't really legalized. And until we get true legalization, this is just going to be the circle that we're on and the merry-go-round that we go round and round on. So,
don't forget, poor people go to prison during this time.
People are still going to jail for weed.
Yeah.
I mean, this has just become a clown show, and we all need to band together and figure out how to get this actually legalized. Hopefully something does happen. You know, it's been almost, or it has been 100 days, I think, almost. And Tennessee's a special case though too. If you've been watching or following Tennessee politics, not even just with cannabis, that it was a all out like pretty much a coup. With the Tennessee Republicans just like locking out the Dems, like all that shit. It's been kind of crazy the way that they've been just throwing all of the political rules like out the window out there. So
it's been fantastic to watch. So entertaining.
It's
so entertaining.
Chaos. And
I love it.
Die because of that shit. Yeah, you can love it all.
I love the chaos. I love the chaos, and you love chaos too because you say that chaos breeds opportunity.
guys are both messy bitches, and you all love chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. You know?
There's the flip flop right there.
I do, and this is why I said it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's an absolute shit show. The way that they're handling their politics there, specifically in the I think it's both houses, both the Tennessee House and Senate over there. There's some fucked up things going on, man. I don't know, man. It's some interesting times. Just put it that way.
Fair enough. And on that, we are going to roll right into Mr. Jesse Barney. He is the founder of Barney Design Co. that can help bring your brands to elevated heights.
Put your ball in the water.
Jenny, mute yourself. Yeah, sorry, Jesse. We are rolling right into Mr. Jesse Barney. He's the founder of Barney Design Co. and can help elevate your brands to new heights. Maybe even be like one of those golf balls that Jenny is imagining to hit today. That's right. And also, too, we do want to congratulate Mr. Jesse Barney because he is the newest member of the Grandpa team and is now a grandfather himself. So congratulations, Mr. Jesse Barney, you guys.
Yeah, Jesse. I think Jesse needs some aim high.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, man.
Take care of them knees, boy.
Some tested, bro.
I'm a young grandpa at 45, dude. So thanks, Jason. My article comes out of Double Blind this morning, written by Alex Olshansky, and it's a little bit of a downer. I usually bring up articles that are positive about psychedelics, but this one is not positive. Is ketamine the next miracle treatment or the next crisis? And I did go ahead and summarize and take some notes on this article because it's fairly long and fairly involved. So I'll just summarize it, but I do encourage everyone to go read it. It's several stories that are really depressing and show the complicated nature of ketamine. As ketamine is not a typical psychedelic, it is a space in the word now. Anyways, it's not a typical psychedelic, so it has its problems. It's been shown to have addictive nature to it and things that aren't great. They start off, Alex starts off with talking about Felix Hill, who was an AI researcher at Google DeepMind, who committed suicide in late 2024 after using ketamine for 2 years in an attempt to quell his depression. And he wrote a really long letter to the world that he published, and the link is in the article. And he blames ketamine specifically in the letter, and he spends a lot of time in the letter talking about his downward spiral with ketamine and how it was a problem. He started drinking alcohol, had severe depression, and started using ketamine on his own to treat that depression, and had some serious psychotic breakouts where he blacked out and text messaged his family and his coworkers, and he was a big name at DeepMind. So he had this just really crazy story. He battled it for 2 years, and then late last year, he actually committed suicide and said, literally blamed his ketamine on kind of breaking, which is kind of an intense thing to do. So the ketamine therapy market, and we've had these stories with Matthew Perry, who obtained a ton of ketamine legally and had a bunch on his own person without a doctor there monitoring him. He was just using it and had obtained most of what he had legally. And this ketamine therapy market that's allowing that to happen is said to reach maybe 0.5 billion by 2030. And in the article, a Dr. Kenneth Roy, who's a veteran addiction psychologist, warns that the growth feels a lot like the run-up to OxyContin. There's a bunch of prescription happening. It's a wildly free market. Everybody's running after it. And it just seems very similar. So then it ends with the story of Ford Smith, who at a very young age, 17, he used plant-based medicines to quit alcohol. He was a severe alcoholic as a teenager. And he became, as a result of that, he became a well-known investor in the cannabis and psychedelic spaces. He continued to be depressed, and his grandma actually bought him a 6 ketamine infusion clinical therapy treatment. He went and did that, and he said that it completely kicked his depression, and he felt like a fog had lifted. And it lasted for 6 months or so, and then his depression came back. So he started chasing booster infusions at these different clinics, and that eventually became too difficult. So he's going to conferences, he's going to things, and he's trying to get these booster infusions to keep himself up. And so he starts purchasing powdered ketamine on his own, and he starts using it first, once a month or once every couple weeks, and then it turns into he's using a gram a day. This spiraled into a psychotic event that he had at Burning Man, where he blacked out thinking the world was on fire, literally the entire world, like he was in some apocalyptic scene. And he smashed his face in a mirror and was bleeding everywhere, and he had to be restrained. So he had a bunch of friends come to his aid, and the article ends with this. Shaken, his fiance called his parents, who insisted that he go to rehab for ketamine addiction or they would cut ties with him. I flew from Burning Man straight to rehab, he said. Though sober ever since, he resists demonizing the drug. It saved my life initially, but it nearly ended me too. And that's what no one warns you about, the razor-thin line between help and harm. I personally have seen ketamine use spiral out of control in people's lives. I've seen people buy it and use it. I've seen it become a very addictive substance and people way overuse it. I think it's very dangerous in the hands of just your everyday user if you're buying it on the street. Not only can you be getting fentanyl mixed in there, and that's dangerous in and of itself, but I think ketamine itself can be extremely addictive. It is very fun. I've done it before. Of course, it's very fun and interesting experience, but it's definitely something to be very careful about. If you know somebody who seems to be using ketamine a lot or too much, please encourage them to get help. It's a dangerous thing to be using in that way. And so this is just one of those things where psychedelics can have their downside. And again, ketamine is not a typical psychedelic. It's a dissociative. That's the word I was looking for. So it's very different than mushrooms or LSD or various other psychedelics that don't seem to have any addictive properties that have been shown, or anecdotes. Nobody just is like, oh, I need more mushrooms. I got to have some more. Doesn't seem to ever happen, but with ketamine, that does seem to happen. So be careful out there, folks. My name is Jesse Barney here on High at 9 News, and I'm going to toss it over to my fellow correspondent. To say.
Man,
Never go full Elon.
So the doctors that were initially doing the ketamine research in Boulder, Colorado, have since dialed back, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, we didn't realize what the long-term effects of these treatments might be. We didn't realize that this might turn into a bad thing for you. I personally just buried a friend a fucking week and a half ago and watched his 11-year-old son have to walk his body to his grave because he went to rehab for another substance. He got put on ketamine by the rehab and then ended up overdosing and dying because of the ketamine use. So like, it's not happy fun mushrooms. We're not just going to have a sparkly day. Like, this is like something that is serious. And I just have always maintained, and I've definitely tried it, but you're a retard if you're not a horse and you're taking ketamine like that. Sorry.
I've never done ketamine. It's the one I've missed out on yet.
Yeah, I've never done it, but I definitely have seen a number of people doing it and being on it and whatnot. And I agree with you, Jesse. I've seen people have a good time on it. I've seen people start to really like go in the K-hole and really, you know what I'm saying, become extremely dependent upon it to where like they're really exuberating some like dope fiendish behavior, I would call it. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like fiending for it and just like, and become very, very aggressive when they aren't able to receive it. And so, I definitely, think that it should be available for those that it can help, but it definitely needs to be administered under a doctor's care and under a doctor's supervision and whatnot to help maintain all of that.
I totally agree.
Dangerous.
I want to say a story. So I was in prison for 8 years, and a family member of mine that's a psychologist, never done drugs. Obviously I've had issues with substance abuse. I think a lot of us have. I've never just been a straight junkie, like shooting up with this, but I have a very addictive personality. But the reason I'm saying this story is this psychologist friend of mine is like a total square, right? And she came up to me. She's like, "Hey, Travis, I think you should try ketamine treatment." And I'm looking at this lady like, I do not need any more substance in my life at all. You know what I mean? So like so professional, normal people that don't have drug use in their past, recommending it to like drug users, that's probably a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous thing. Like I thought right away, like I don't need help getting high.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's just me though, personally. Like I do think there's people that it could help, but I think if you already have a drug problem, like I smoke a ton of pot or whatever, you probably don't need more substances in your life. It's not going to be the cure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Exactly.
Yep.
If you got issues, you got issues. You know what I mean? And deal with the issues. Maybe go back to Kleenex and get a tissue for your issue.
Go hit the gym.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I've used ketamine quite a bit. I had a little stint with it where I was using it quite often. I really enjoyed it. Felt like I had some life-changing experiences through it. But I also saw people around me, like in the story, just seemed like they were using it all day, every day, and they couldn't stop. And they started, like you said, Jason, where it just became this dope fiendish behavior. Yeah. It was like, I need more. And that was a real turnoff for me because I don't want anything like that in my life. And I don't want my friends to have anything like that in my life.
Yeah.
So ketamine should just have an extreme amount of caution and accountability, even if you're going to use it in a therapeutic situation. Even if you're going to go to a clinic, you need to have some accountability that afterwards, if you start craving it or start feeling like you need it to stay happy, you've got a problem.
I agree. And shout out to all the people that do need help. We do hope that you do get help and someone is able to help you because it definitely is a serious thing for a lot of people. And so we don't want to take anything away from that and from the people that are seeking out to get help and trying to better themselves. We don't want to discourage them either from that because people that need help. Right on. Yeah.
I hope they do. Yeah, and I hope they do. I hope they do get help, man. Because addiction is rough, man.
It is.
Some of us those of us who have been through it, man. It's like I wish you nothing but luck.
Yeah, I have a tough time. I'm addicted to getting money, and on that, we're gonna roll into a commercial, and we're gonna be right back. And we are back, you guys. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. And if you are a brand looking to be or are in the New York market and you need a stable supply of distillate and other concentrates, I can help you out. My contact information is in the bio below.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. That. So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door. And then next door to that, they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
Yes, and we are back, you guys.
Yeah, y'all.
I'm sorry, Rico. I apologize. I have Travis. I have Travis's thing here.
I got
Oh, you have it? Okay, cool. All right. Sorry. My bad. I was just wanting to be helpful, bro. My bad.
Yeah, you know,
Apologize.
I got that DEI email out that you pushed out last week, so we all have the same information now.
Oh, is that it?
Up next, he's a formerly incarcerated cannabis entrepreneur. Uses his platform to push for justice and reforms, determined to make a difference in the industry that once cost him his freedom, and now he calls out Republicans for what they are. Not cool. Travis Cullen, what do you have for us today, this morning, my brother? You are on mute.
You're on mute, Travis. You got to go off mute. There
Heck
we go, buddy.
This
There we
one's
go.
from Marijuana Moment, written by Kyle Jagger. Former marijuana prisoners who got clemency from Trump hold event outside White House to request relief for those still behind bars. Former marijuana prisoners who received clemency from Donald Trump during his first term staged an event outside the White House on Thursday, expressing their gratitude for the relief they were given and calling on the new administration to grant the same kind of help to others who are still behind bars for cannabis. Flanked by cardboard cutouts of individuals pardoned or granted communists, you know what I mean, by Trump, activists impacted by criminalization stood outside the White House with a message to free all cannabis prisoners. The grassroots Cannabis Prisoners Unity Day called attention to the opportunity to build upon the executive level relief. In addition to Trump's clemency actions in his first term, former President Joe Biden also pardoned and commuted sentences of hundreds of people while he was in office, but numerous people remain behind bars over nonviolent federal cannabis convictions. President Trump, we are your example of a victory, Craig Cecil, who received a commutation for a life sentence he was handed down in 2002 for marijuana distribution conviction, said during a panel discussion ahead of the White House meetup. He believed in us, and I told you, that was the exact words that Ivanka Trump herself told me, that we believe that you're going to be a good, productive part of society, he said. President Trump, we're here to prove you were right. Anthony Dijon, who was also granted relief from a life sentence over cannabis, said he'd like to thank Trump for taking me from the pits of hell in United States penitentiaries, because that's what the prison system is, pits of hell. If I could say anything to him, I wish that he would free the rest of them, because they don't deserve to be in there, he said. The day-long event was organized by Travis Cullen, a justice-impacted individual who also served time for a nonviolent marijuana offense. It was also backed by several advocacy organizations, including Freedom Grow, the Redemption Foundation, Mission Green, and Jailed for Weed. Cullen told Marijuana Moment on Thursday that the plan is to hold the event annually, at least until the remaining cannabis prisoners are released, which he's hopeful could happen with the right executive direction. While the Trump administration so far has not meaningfully engaged on cannabis issues this term, with a focus on immigration and tariff policy occupying much of the White House time, there seems to be a recently stepped-up push from advocates and stakeholders making the case to prioritize marijuana reform. On the congressional level, for example, bipartisan lawmakers announced the filing of 2 pieces of cannabis legislation that largely align with Trump's stated position on the issue. One would end federal marijuana prohibition in states that have legalized it while providing a basic federal regulatory framework for cannabis products. The other would direct the Attorney General to create a commission charged with making recommendations on regulatory system for cannabis that models what's currently placed in alcohol. The introduction of the bills amid the release of the new survey from GOP pollsters affiliated with Trump that found that the majority of Republicans back a variety of cannabis reforms. And notably, they're even more supportive of allowing states to legalize without federal interference compared to the average voter. So there is a lot of cool Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
There's the article.
Well.
Travis, thank you so much for putting this together, man.
Yes.
No, it's just super admirable what you're doing in a bipartisan fashion there. What do you think, like, the biggest hurdle to actually getting action from these lawmakers, like not even just like Republicans versus Democrats, like getting them to actually care? Like, what do you think could help with that?
Well, I think that my advocacy works because it's from my heart. When we have disingenuous organizations like the Last Prisoner Project claiming they represent the inmates, it all goes downhill. Like, I don't care who's in power. You know what I mean? I'm from Minnesota. I'm a Democrat, but I leave that at home. Like, so Trump, he appointed Alice Marie Johnson. Super great move. Love Alice, right?
Yes.
So now we have guys inside federal prison on cannabis charges that want to come home. So my goal is to represent them as best as possible and try to do it in a bipartisan fashion, because Trump is the only one that can let them out. Now, if you go to the Cannabis Day of Justice that the Last Prisoner Project's putting on, it's nothing but fanatic Democrats, and all they care about is impressing. Yeah, they just care about impressing the Democrat Party. And they completely are misguided, because even the Democrats don't respect what they're doing, you know? So it's like, we need proper representation at the top of these issues. That's why I did organize this event. I did a lot of work. I drove all over the country to make sure I gathered people that President Trump let out to make a statement. Hey, these guys are doing good. And and that's what we can build off of what Trump's actually done. You know, because Trump's got an ego. He wants to look good. We all know how he acts. You know, so you know.
I think you hit the nail on the head out there. Not just saying like it's from the heart. It's who you are. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think you could have said it better about the Democrats, like John being all disingenuous and shit like that. Trying like, oh yeah, well, this is what we support. Blah 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 blah. Like, no, let the people speak for themselves and say what they want. And oh man, you're firing on all.
Yeah, and they argued with me up until the election. Full disclosure, I don't lie about anything. I'm not lying for any of these cowards.
They want to tell you what's good for you.
Yeah, no, I went for Kamala. I was out there like, no, Kamala's good. Biden's going to let you guys out. And the incarcerated individuals were yelling at me like, no, we want Trump. We want Trump. So I already did that fight. All the people in prison believe Trump is going to help them better.
He is.
Kamala. So now
that's just reality.
Now I'm just literally saying what they want said. No, and then what I was going to say, it's very important we put leaders, like I put Craig Cecil as the spokesman. He's got so much law stuff in his head. Trump let him out. These are the people we want talking to the administration, not some clown like Jason Ortiz that's in there to get a job with the Democrats. Like, are you kidding me? Right. Like, this dude's suit costs more than everything I own. Like, come on. What? People see through that crap. But we put Craig Cecil as the front runner to talk to these people. Hey, they might listen because they know that it's not about getting money, man. It's not. It's about these people are suffering in prison. And people have to take, like when we were running, we did a panel before it. You know, it was all run by inmates. We had a conference center with all inmate panel, all inmate running the equipment, and we took everything seriously. There was a timetable. And we can do serious stuff, but as formerly incarcerated people, we have to take things seriously. We have to dress nice because people do judge us.
100%. 100%. You're so right about that. It's all about the presentation, all the way. And I totally agree with you. You know what I mean? Showing the fact that these inmates or former inmates have been let out and are doing positive things in their communities and really being a shining light of reform and what reform can look like. I agree with you is definitely the way to go to be able to get more of these guys out without a doubt, Travis. So I applaud your efforts on this. This is fantastic.
And I watched Travis for the people at home and everything that want to support and everything. What is the best way that they can support real movement?
I like Weldon. So I don't have an organization, but when I look for advice, I can't never get Weldon Angelos from Mission Green on the phone. He's hard to get a hold of. Like, he's really, really busy, but what he does is great. He's got the right messaging. He wants the right people out of prison. And so, like, I would say just support him. Freedom Grows, another great organization. And just because I'm not in the fundraising. I'm just literally a kid that spent my whole life in prison because of cannabis. And then I was in a granite shop working, and they started talking about social equity. And I was like, oh, they care about me again? You know what I mean? So now I really want to have the discussion with the rest of my life of why people are profiting so much, and then there's people incarcerated. And then I run into all these battles as I meet that. And then I met this organization, the Last Prisoner Project. At the last day of Unity, I literally wanted to cry. I was like, these are the people that are going to talk for us. We're never going to get out of jail. All that's going to happen is they're going to enrich themselves and get the good jobs to say, because when they show up for a politician like they did in Maryland for the Governor Westmore when he signed off on the pardons, that makes voters think, oh, the cannabis community likes what they're doing. No, we're not happy. I'm not happy with Biden. I'm not happy with Governor Westmore. Hell no. Let the people out of jail. And if Trump lets the people out of jail and he reschedules, then they deserve the cannabis vote.
Yep. I don't think you could have said it better. And I think there's no better person to let people out of jail than Donald Trump.
Exactly. I see what you did there.
He's of the convict culture. So
he is. Like, after you went through it, whether he agrees guilty or not, but after you go through the federal system, you look at that shit differently, man.
Right? No. It's a half-ass joke, but but real talk. Like, I don't think there's a better representative for getting people out, and in that particular lane, I'm 100% pro-Trump because he has done more for incarcerated people than any of the last couple of presidents, and I have no problem saying that shit on chest. He let my homeboys out, and he got my homeboys out, and it's something it's something that I'll never argue against. Yeah, like straight up.
That's big, man. Yeah, he's done some stuff, and we can go to the polls again as activists and vote again in 4 years. But in the meantime, we need to work with the people in power and not stage this protest that they're planning on staging at their Day of Unity, and just say, hey, Trump, thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for letting these people out, because Trump doesn't take kindly to protesters. And the fact that Last Prisoner Project is staging a protest with the inmates behind them is disgusting. Last Prisoner Project is a completely disingenuous organization. If anybody can get, I spent all the money I have in this world to throw this event so they could not be the ones representing us. And I know I didn't quite get there, but there's another voice, and we want Craig Cecil as the voice.
Jenny Beth, you had something you wanted to throw in on this?
Yeah, I mean, we want damn near anybody other than Mary Bailey and her hat collection out there representing us.
My homie, I'm going to Europe skiing. She's in Italy. She's all over the country skiing.
Hold on. Travis, let Jenny Beth finish her thought.
Sorry.
Yeah, and the right person to let people out is whoever the fuck is going to do it. So, I think that we've made this a partisan issue for too long. It's not. It's about people's lives. It's about restoring families. It's about reuniting Black and brown families who've been disproportionately torn apart over a nonviolent plan. So I think that, I appreciate Rico today finally saying, I'm not going to knock Trump on something. That was amazing. I'm going to timestamp that. I'm going to write it. Dear Diary, today, Rico. But, we need to just check in the organizations you're fucking supporting. I'm not going to put everybody's dirty. I'm not pulling anybody's pants down and exposing their dicks first thing this morning. But look into where the money is going, because I can go ahead and tell you most of these people are not doing dick all for the constituents that they are supposed to be helping.
Yeah, fair.
Hey, Jenny Beth, I call balls and strikes. If Trump is going to be doing something right, I'm gonna say he's doing something right. Like, most of the time, he's doing a lot of fucked up shit, and I call that out. And when he's doing good, he's doing good. That's it. So yeah, what he did for the prisoners was good. I wish he did more. Hopefully he does more, especially with what he went through and what he survived. I hope he does more for the incarcerated community and gets more motherfuckers out, because they don't deserve to be in fucking jail for fucking especially the nonviolent criminals. That's absolute utter bullshit.
I'm totally with you. And on that, thank you so much for covering this today, Travis, and organizing this event. We definitely appreciate all your efforts, and we're gonna roll to our final commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, And I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested, every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Tested. It's not a name, it's a promise.
Gotta get my story up. Hope Jason yells at me again.
And we are back, you guys.
Yeah, y'all. When she ain't driving men crazy, she's driving golf carts lazy. Fresh off the greens today, it is the melanated and highly opinionated the industry's favorite foul mouth from the South, here to break hearts and Jason's ego. One and the same.
Stop the ridiculousness.
Jenny Beth Dills. Yeah. What you got for us today, Jenny Beth? We actually gonna see your face. You trying to block out? You trying to block out some behavior? Is that what you trying to do? You trying to cover up?
That's she's good at that.
We are going to the southern fucking New York because the new gift that keeps on giving is motherfucking Missouri, y'all. Woo-wee. I actually had to choose which one of the Missouri recall stories I was going to use today, and I used the most egregious one because they're saying 2 years after Missouri's massive marijuana products recall, regulators are once again pulling thousands of items from dispensary shelves. The Missouri Division of Cannabis Regulation has added more than 6,000 products to its original recall list, bringing the total to over 68,000. All of them were made using a THC distillate from Delta Extractions, a Robertsville-based cannabis manufacturer whose license was suspended last year. The distillate was made with what the state called unregulated cannabis, material not tested or tracked through the licensed Missouri cultivation sites. Regulators say that poses a potential threat to public health and safety, even though no adverse reactions have been reported. The new recalls were triggered during a legal review that partially cleared the brand of Midwest Magic. Regulators then discovered, wait, there's more, products containing the same problematic oil that initially gone unnoticed. Delta Extraction, which made the distillate used in vape pens, edibles, and pre-rolls, argue the product was safe and legally made using THCA extracted from hemp. But Missouri officials ruled THCA becomes intoxicating whether it's from hemp or marijuana. It's all THCA at the end of the day, Jason Beck, and must be tracked by licensed Missouri facilities. So far, about 157,000 units remain on hold under the Delta recall, including tens of thousands of edibles, pre-rolls, vape cartridges, and 378,000 grams of THC concentrate. As dispensaries scramble to respond, some are opting to destroy products to free up space. Meanwhile, legal experts say more businesses may challenge the recall because it's still unclear exactly what can be sold. It's not that unclear. They told you the shit didn't come from the licensed market. It's not that fucking unclear. You know it. And I just think it's hilarious that it's taking the regulators so long in Missouri to recall all these products. Meanwhile, you guys are just sucking down these dirty hot dog water vapes. So I'll throw it back to you guys, but there were also recalls for products labeling as well as, I can't remember what the other one was, but they have recalled a lot of products. 3 different stories on it today, but this one was my favorite.
Lots of recalls. Lots of which they call it a total recall, Jenny. They should get Arnold Schwarzenegger.
God, I wish we were so successful in recalling Gavin Newsom, but 2 years later, we can't get that done either.
Oh, man.
I thought you guys liked Gavin out there.
No, we don't like Gavin, bro.
No, Bruce Newsom?
No. I mean, even most Democrats don't even support Gavin anymore.
He's on the way out.
Yeah, exactly. He's you know what I'm saying? He's on the way out. Jenny looks like she's like drunk driving over there today. This morning.
He did a good job on the fire response, right?
Stop it, Travis.
No.
Stop it, Travis.
No.
Stop it. That's painful for a lot of people in California, bro. That's a bad joke, bro. Bad joke.
Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people lost their homes.
We have a lot of
bro.
friends. We have a lot of friends. In the industry who literally, like, I spoke to one friend, shout out to Mr. Cannabis. Anthony's like, I feel like my whole childhood just burned up. So yeah, it's very, still praying for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri, man. This is, I think you might be onto something, Jenny Beth. This may be the gift that keeps on giving. This may be our new Southern New York, and this is because this is, Minnesota used to be such a great market, and now it just seems like you guys have been sitting at the top for so long, and now you're starting to just sink to everyone else's levels just because it's easy to sink to their levels.
That's how it all.
Yeah, Jason, Missouri too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had such high hopes for Missouri and its overall.
Minnesota. I know, and that's why I keep picking a Missouri failure story, because you're like, Missouri's the best market. Missouri's the best market.
Missouri
so
is still the best market. It still is.
I'm gonna find a Missouri fail every day. I mean, 2 years, and it's ridiculous. Like, come on, it's all the same product, it's all the same input. And as the local metric expert, all you have to do is track a source package, and then it pulls all the child tags that have been created by that. So, like, this is just literally they're just like taking a whole shit on consumer and public safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
What's
definitely
the source
are.
of this problem, Jenny? How is this even started?
Oklahoma is the source of the problem, Jesse.
Well, yeah,
Hold
no,
on,
I understand
Jason.
the backdoor cannabis that's coming out of Oklahoma, but why isn't Missouri creating a free enough market that people can actually compete legally? Like, what's the problem?
This is one bad operator. So when I did the story initially on these guys, the operator did come out of Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure they brought a bunch of hemp from Oklahoma with them. The guy was not even like allowed to be an employee of a license, so they just keep giving him visitor badges. So like he didn't pass even the most basic of operating requirements, like even for an employee, not an owner. So I think
is this like a really big operator in Missouri? Is why they keep getting so much attention.
So they were white labeling for everybody. So like essentially they were just making a bunch of fucking hemp distillate from Oklahoma Boofy products and saying like calling it cool.
So is Missouri just not able to
just
produce
an isolated
So is Missouri
No,
just
this
not
guy
able
was just
to
trying to
produce
cut corners and make
enough product, or they're not able to get enough growers online fast enough, and so they're pulling all this product from Oklahoma that's being backdoored?
No, this guy was just trying to increase his margins. This dude's just being a dick.
No, it's a typical green rush maneuver.
That's how it sounds. That's how it sounds to me.
Yeah.
Yep. Profiteers, you know what I mean? Culture vultures, all that same type of mentality.
There's a case out of Des Moines, Iowa. This guy, Hassan, he went to federal prison for 12 years for making vapes on regulated THC. It's just, there's such, like, if you have a license, you can just basically break federal laws and I don't want these people to go to federal prison at all, but there's such a problem in America. Like, that's all I think about. Like, they got away with that. This guy's in federal prison.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Well, and I scream about this a lot because there are a lot of people who are like, I'm a victim of the war on drugs. No, you're not stupid. You're a victim of your own stupidity because you operated a licensed company in such a way that you had to go to jail for a week or 2 days or however long your little ass sat there. You're not a victim of the war on drugs. And I think it's insulting to people who have actually gone to prison as a result of the war on drugs. So, I mean, sit down and take a seat, several of them. It's not your time.
Word to that. Yes. There's a lot of fakers out there, the social equity. I did 8 years, and I didn't even know it would ever help me until like 2 years ago.
Well, Jesse, do you have any final thoughts you want to share on this story?
No, that was it. That was my only question: is why Missouri is even having this problem in the first place.
All right. Well, we're going to end this. I'm not sure what happened to Yarrow today, but nonetheless, we hope he's doing okay. And
a lily pad.
See, something like that. He must be, you know what I'm saying, picking mushrooms in the Shire or something. You know what I mean? But so I'm gonna read his story in lieu of him missing out today, and we're gonna end it on a little bit of a happier note, you guys, because U.S. House members introduce a bipartisan bill to lay groundwork for federal cannabis legalization. You guys, that's right. 2 U.S. representatives are once again working across the aisle on legislation to foster a smooth transition to a federally legalized cannabis market. Representative Dave Joyce, my guy out of Ohio, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat from New York, announced on April 17th that they reintroduced the Preparing Regulators Effectively for a Post-Prohibition Adult Use Regulated environment, better known as the PREPARE Act. The legislation intends to create a fair, honest, and transparent process for the federal government to establish effective regulations when cannabis is inevitably legalized in the United States. More specifically, the bill would allow experts to weigh in on the best pathway to transition from the current state-by-state patchwork of legalization to an interstate market. The experts, who include industry stakeholders, criminal justice reform advocates, substance use advocates, healthcare experts, state cannabis regulators, and state and tribal justice departments, and the public, he says. This process would equip lawmakers in Washington with an understanding of how to implement reform without reinventing the wheel. Absent engagement with industry experts, it is unlikely Congress will establish policies that align with the American interests, the representative said. And in a quote, they say, currently nearly all 50 states have legalized or enacted cannabis to some degree, bringing us closer to the inevitable end of federal cannabis prohibition, Joyce said in a press release. Recognizing this reality, the PREPARE Act delivers a bipartisan plan. With this legislation, Congress would be equipped to develop a much-needed federal regulatory framework that not only respects the unique needs, rights, and laws of each state, but also ensures a responsible end to prohibition and a safer future for our communities, he says. This marks the third Congress that Joyce and Jeffries are working on the PREPARE Act after first introducing the legislation back in April of 2022 and again in April of 2023. And the previous rendition of the bill never picked up steam after being referred to in the committee process. And the legislation comes at a time when 24 states have legalized adult use cannabis, 15 states have solely legalized medical cannabis, and 9 states have loosened their prohibition laws, but still have severely limited access to medical cannabis or certain constituents of the plant. And meanwhile, Idaho and Kansas have maintained prohibition policies to its fullest, you guys. Under federal prohibition, however, state legalized cannabis markets are restricted to intrastate commerce from seed to sale, falling under varying regulatory systems, and a federally legalized landscape has the potential to disrupt these individualized systems. Under the PREPARE Act, the U.S. Attorney General would be required to establish a commission on the federal regulation of cannabis to study a plausible and prompt pathway to cannabis regulation in an intrastate framework that's similar to alcohol. The commission, in part, would be responsible for proposing measures to alleviate and remedy the wrongs of prohibition, including the impacts of criminalization on minority, low-income, and veteran communities. And in a quote, since the failed war on drugs began more than 50 years ago, the prohibition of marijuana has ruined lives, families, and communities, particularly communities of color, Jeffrey said. The PREPARE Act is one of the bipartisan solutions that will lay the groundwork to finally right these wrongs in a way that advances public safety and boosts our economy. I am grateful to Congressman Joyce for reintroducing this important bill and his leadership to help the United States be ready for the inevitable end to cannabis prohibition. The preliminary legislation would direct federal regulators to develop a regulatory and revenue framework to ensure safe production and consumption of cannabis, which would account for the unique needs, rights, and laws of each state and present such a framework to Congress within 1 year. It would also build upon the efforts undertaken by recent administrations of both political parties to remedy the unjust consequences of the war on cannabis, and particularly those suffered by minority and low-income and veteran communities, and help grant medical professionals critical research access and training, as well as develop protections for the hemp industry, including cross-pollination, prevention efforts, and help ensure that absent the physician-prescribed treatment of a minor, cannabis remains an adult-only product. And the legislation points out that cannabis was federally legal in all the U.S. until 1937, and if enacted, the legislation would assert that Congress finds that cannabis was federally prohibited to codify discriminatory practices against minority communities, and that the plant has proven medicinal beneficials for patients suffering from pain, cancer, post-traumatic stress disorder, seizure disorders, and multiple sclerosis, among other diseases. The admission by Congress that cannabis has medical benefits would bank a current executive branch proposal by the Department of Health and Human Services to remove cannabis from Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act, and under the CSA, substances determined to have currently accepted medical use in the U.S. cannot be listed in the Schedule 1 status. And in a final quote, they say, while the United States remains trapped in antiquated cannabis regulations, other nations and scientific competitors, including the United Kingdom, Canada, South Korea, Germany, and Israel, have modified their laws to allow for varying degrees of cannabis legality and medical research, according to the bill, they say, you guys. Well, I think this is fantastic news. This is great that it happened right before 420 and everything. I hope it's not just some publicity stunt that they're grandstanding on and whatnot. And I think this makes sense to go along with some formidable legislation that would ultimately deschedule cannabis. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
I think that's great. I wonder what they're going to do with the minimum mandatories. 100 kilos is a 5-year minimum mandatory.
Well, they wouldn't have mandatory minimum sentences if cannabis was removed from the Controlled Substances Act. There wouldn't be a mandatory minimums anymore in regards with that.
Get some people out of prison too. That'd be great.
Yeah, this all sounds good, man. Prepare Act, let's get it going. Let's get it done.
Prepare Act.
I'm with Ben Lubin and so many others. Deschedule or bust. But Dr. Jean Talleyrand has made a great point in that even a rescheduling would allow tons of new research. It would just open the floodgates of research. That floodgate of research being open, so many things for the cannabis industry, that it's also not a bad option. So
it is.
Either way they go, let's just get it done and move forward. Like we're sick of people being debanked, not being able to bank. Let's get the people out of prison, as Travis is talking about, and solve these big problems and just move forward.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Jenny Beth, you have anything you want to say on this, Jenny Beth?
Yeah, let's keep it pushing, Pippin. Let's actually get some progress instead of just, walking around with their dicks in our hands and saying, is this going to happen now? Now? What about now? How about now, Jason?
7 years in.
Yeah.
And let's not, as we make progress in cannabis reform, we can't start screaming that it's not enough. It's steps. Like, yes, I want deschedule. I was arguing with those people under Biden. Like, deschedule is great. But if the people in power are saying this is what we're willing to give you right now, at some point we have to say, let's just we'll take that. That's enough. I'm
not with that. No, Travis, I'm going to push back on that. I'm not with that at all. Schedule 3 would be a disaster for the whole entire cannabis industry, all the infrastructure that we built and all of the operators. It would be a complete disaster. Not to mention, it would totally eliminate the ability for any social equity applicants to maintain a license. And so I'm going to push back on that. That's not reality at all.
And I'm going to put Jason on my shoulders and push back right along with him because, not only is he my best friend, but I agree with him wholeheartedly. It not only would be detrimental to the industry, but it would effectively eliminate the industry.
Yep.
Like, none of y'all are getting DEA licenses. If we schedule this for antibiotic steroids, ketamine, all these things are scheduled, then guess where you have to buy those because it's not fucking your local.
Yep, exactly.
You got to go to CVS, big dog. So it's going to absolutely destroy this industry. And I'm not a huge fan of let's just take some bullshit policy over nothing, because when they give us bullshit policy, it takes them a very, 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 very long time to address it and do anything right.
Yep. Very, very, very true.
I agree with you guys.
Jenny, I'm going to pull what you said earlier in the show and say, you know what? This is probably going to happen. So as operators, you're going to have to figure out how to pivot, because it's probably not going to be descheduled. It's probably going to be rescheduled.
I disagree with that.
You're going to have to pivot or you're going to die on the vine.
Well, everyone's going to die because they're not going to have a way to pivot under a rescheduling of a Schedule 3. They're not going to have a way to pivot because they're not going to qualify to get a DEA license in the first place. So there is no pivot. The only pivot is a broken ankle.
I know logistically that's probably impossible. There have been many arguments made that we don't really know what they're going to do. We're saying that as likelihoods, and yeah, it's like a 99% likelihood.
Anyone that says that we don't know what they do, Jesse, is just not in touch with how this framework works, and they don't understand any of these processes and how this works. The only people that are saying that don't understand how government works, and they don't understand the nuances and the other laws that are in place that would come into effect under a Schedule 3. And so it's just an ignorance of people that are saying that.
That's what's going to happen.
But we already know what's going to happen. That's what I'm saying is we already know exactly what's going to happen. And anyone that says that we don't are just idiots because they can't read other laws.
Right. So exactly.
From
So
a licensing standpoint.
Yeah.
Well, licensing standpoint, what guy might pass the live scan and qualify for a California state license is definitely not going to pass through all the red tape for a federal DEA license.
Exactly.
Like, it just comes from that. Like, not even say you have the money, say you miraculously buried $25 million fucking dollars in your backyard from your trap, right? And you happen to have the money to go and try build out some infrastructure that's going to be passable for a DEA facility. Mm-hmm. You're not going to qualify for the fucking license.
Yep.
We're all out of this. My criminal record is not going to pass. Jason's not going to pass. They're going to look at how you've been paying your taxes. They're going to look at all these things, and we're not going to be able to participate in this industry that we fucking built.
Exactly.
And that is going to be a sad fucking day. And so if this industry knows what's best for it, you better lobby your fat asses off to keep this from happening.
Yep. Deschedule or bust. That's the only solution.
I agree with you guys. It just sucks because I always try to put myself of the inmates inside prison, and then when we're having these conversations, the people in power, they frame it like we're going to give you Schedule 3. And I'll go back to work. Like if you
Schedule 3 is not going to get anyone out of jail, Travis, and it's actually going to put more people in jail because people still go to jail for Schedule 3 drugs.
Did you know we didn't even have laws? We had the greatest marijuana laws until 1975 or something. It was just they had laws on marijuana, but it was good. It was like a 5-year max or something like that.
Well,
I hope they figure that out again.
I mean, before 1936 was really the time because that's when you could just buy it in any U.S. pharmacopoeia, and you know what I'm saying, and that was just the thing.
Yeah, but they had sensible drug laws until 1979 or something like that.
Well, that's the problem with this whole story is that it seems like this whole story is pointing us in the direction of rescheduling. That's what the Prepare Act.
I don't think that. No, it doesn't because under Schedule 3 you're not going to have interstate trade. This is saying interstate trade. This is preparing for descheduling. I disagree with that assumption.
Interstate trade for Schedule 3. I mean, there's no other way to do it.
You're going to have a DEA license in order to have interstate trade, Jesse. That's what I'm saying. And if they're trying to prepare the industry to be able to transition from this market into the regulated federalized market, the only solution is a descheduling. There is no other solution that works.
You heard it here first, folks.
Descheduling would be great. Grow it in the backyard and sell it like fucking lettuce.
Yep.
I actually disagree with Jason. Schedule 3 narcotics travel state lines all the time. I do think that this sounds like a reschedule, and that's why I think that we need to be scared and we need to be vigilant. We need to fight like hell. And
I don't know. Shout out to Ben.
Right now, we need to fucking know.
Shout out to Ben LeBone, who says Jason Beck is always right when it comes to the process. You're right, Ben. You are so right. And on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Aim High Hemp Distribution. Tested is now available, as well as Catalyst for helping us keep the lights on over here. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing, and thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. Thank you to Cloud Media Partners, Anthony out there in the metaverse, and thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show. And we're off.